Them early feelings are probably the worst because your mind is in major overdrive. And every single thought coming in your head and every single demon's in your head, everything's there. It's just, everything's bad. First thing that does come into your mind is, how can I get rid of this?
Which is when addiction and alcohol and drugs can come into
And the only thing I could say to people, when you have that initial thought, and everyone that goes through, I think I can guarantee most of them will, is to take that step back and say, I need help. Because you can do something that you're going to regret for the rest of your life.
Imagine being a single father, navigating life's challenges while nurturing the future. The Dad Project tells these stories of strength, sacrifice, and unbreakable bonds. In season 1, we dive into the voices of single fathers of colour, capturing their victories and their struggles. It's time to recognise their impact, break down the stigma, and celebrate the powerful truth of fatherhood. Join me, your host, Narup Juti, on this inspiring journey. So Raj, thank you so much for coming down to be part of our Dad's Project. I know you've travelled quite far today, haven't you, from Leicester?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear about your journey of being a single father. How did you feel when that moment struck, when you realised, I'm going to be a single dad?
I like to say sad, but I don't think sad touches it, if I'll be honest. There's a load of emotion behind that. I won't be shy about it. I went counselling, you know, and when we went all the way back, I think I went through every single part of the cycle of trauma.
Talk to me a little bit through those cycles.
Yeah, I think at first you go through the blame, you go through the anger, you go through points you just don't want to talk to no one, then you do want to talk to some people, and you just let out.
Blaming yourself?
Yeah, then the blame, blame yourself, blame everyone.
When you say blaming yourself, what was that feeling? Was it thinking that you could have done more?
Yeah, could have done more, could have sat down, could have done more with the families. But I think ultimately it was our decision. So.
Do you think you could have done more?
Yeah, I think everyone can sit here and say, yes, you always can do more. But I think when you're at that time, when you're having that conversation, I don't think time comes into your head. So I think it's probably the more emotion and takes over and the decisions are made.
What were your immediate thoughts? Okay, I've got a 3-year-old and I've got a 6-year-old. They're both very young, both need both their parents to help raise them. Was that overwhelming for you? Talk me through how you tried to process those emotions.
Literally, when we decided to part, the next thing basically that came through both of our mouths is, what about the girls? And literally, we forgot ourselves for a minute and literally just sat down, talked. Anything we go through now, you hear all these stories out there, what happens when guys go through divorce. So we just thought, right, all it's going to be about, let's have this conversation just about the girls. And we made a pact, we're never going to involve the girls in any of our discussions, what that be financial, what that be whatever. And to this date, we've stuck to that pact. And you know what? Nothing else really matters. When you sit here now after three odd years, it's working well.
When I became a single dad, my daughter was 6. And I remember thinking, I looked at her and that moment when I knew it was over, I looked and I thought, I've got to raise this girl now. And every daughter especially, their dad has got to be the hero because they're going to judge every man
role model
by their dad. That's a big pressure.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure. And yet you are now facing the hardest thing you've ever had to face, which is divorce, separation from your partner.
Yeah.
You're going for your stuff, yet they need you to be strong.
Yeah.
Right, which has its pros and its cons because it helps you to stay strong because you know you're needed. But yeah, it's very difficult because you do want to be weak at times. You do want to cry. You do want to break down. You don't want to feel like everyone is depending on you because sometimes you need time for yourself, which is totally fair. So how did you deal with that side of that early, because I think that's really the most difficult part of becoming a single dad, is that initial first few months. We're trying to figure it all out. How do I move on? I'm so used to this lifestyle. Now my whole life's going to change. How do I raise my child? Those early months is where I think most people really slip up, which is the really pivotal months where someone can either become better and stronger or can go down the path of maybe addiction, self-harm, depression.
Yep.
How did you navigate that journey?
Them early feelings are probably the worst because your mind is in major overdrive. And every single thought coming in your head and every single demon's in your head, everything's there. It's just, everything's bad. And to clear that in your mind, it's hard. And first thing that does come into your mind is, how can I get rid of this?
Which is when addiction and alcohol and drugs can come into play.
And I'm not going to lie, yes, that was the easy thing. Living on your own, going on to the alcohol. Yeah, I had the odd few, you know, a couple of nights out, that were crazy. But that wasn't me. So I reined myself back, but I can see how people can carry that on as well. So it's the thing is the initial thought. I think the only thing I could say to people, when you have that initial thought, and everyone that goes through, I think I can guarantee most of them will, is to take that step back and say, I need help. Because you can do something that you're going to regret for the rest of your life, or your family is going to regret. So the one thing I would say is I know as guys are really bad at asking for help, and I think that is the time. Again, I think I could have touched on that point. I think one of the things I could have changed is, I should have asked for more help at that time, because that timeline-wise, I'd say the first 3 months, because your mind is everywhere. You're doing everything. Your house is all upside down. Your relationship with your ex, your relationship with your kids, your family, everything. Because you've just recently probably told your family as well. You know, you've got all that added in as well. So I think help in that first 3 months, 6 months, even a year, is the most important time, because the worst thing we can do out of this, anyone going through this, is do something that's stupid.
And you sought your help through family and speaking to friends.
Well, I was lucky I had a friend who literally a year ago went through the same thing. He didn't have kids, but he was my shoulder. And two of my cousins, again, my shoulders.
So I know I can resonate with that feeling so strongly, because what I found really hard in the first few months was when I was with her, it was great. When she was gone, it hurt. And especially coming back from shoots and coming back to the empty house, putting my bag down and it's silence. That was difficult, because I was used to coming back and she's just about to get into bed, because I'd always rush off after shoots. And Amit would maybe sometimes hang about, or he's like, do you want to hang out, we'll have dinner with them or whatever. And I'd be like, no, I need to get back, because I had to get back before she went to sleep. And not hearing her voice and saying, oh, Dada, that was hard. And the way I dealt with that was to change my whole routine. So I've always trained, I've always gone to the gym. And I used to go at 6 a.m. every day. Then I changed it to go in the evening. So I'd come back and I'd go gym. And I changed my gym to a different gym, because my old gym had memories of me being together. So I went to a different gym, different people, different environments, a different journey. Just changed my routine. That helped me a lot, just to fill that time. And it's not like you're trying to waste the time, because that was positive action. What did you do when you moved out? How did you navigate those lonely moments?
I think a lot of family. 'Cause I'm close with family. And a lot of friends going through the same kind of thing, because they've already been through that sort of motion of the first period. You listen to them talking, they go, it will pass. It will pass. You just need to get on with the normal things that you do. And then when I moved into my own place, we had a good schedule with the girls, routine with the girls. So I see them more or less every day, besides the weekends. I either drop them off to school or pick them up. So I get to see them. So, and I had got them involved in the new house as well. So getting them into their bedrooms, choosing their colors, choosing their beds. So things like that, just got them settled before I probably even got myself settled, if I'll be honest. Because they were that routine was gonna start next week. So literally, I've not got no sofa, not no TV. So literally trying to like get things from here, there, and everywhere. But it got done.
When you started getting in your own routine, at what point did you realize that actually I have to rebuild my life too? Like, it's only, you can give so much to somebody else, but if you don't give to yourself, then you really have nothing to give. I think sometimes people end up giving so much that they never ever receive. And I think receiving and taking and living for yourself is not a selfish thing to do.
No.
Especially as a man, if we forget about ourselves and our purpose, then you can lose yourself, right? What did you do to make sure that you were being fed emotionally, you were being mentally, remain mentally stable? What were your kind of coping mechanisms during that time?
I think losing myself. I think I've started losing myself a good few years, even before we separated. So that's my friends were saying, but they never actually said anything. This is something that conversations happened, maybe even still happening now.
Wow.
I kind of lost myself in that. They said, we lost Raj. So even now when we go out, they're saying, you know what, bits of Raj are coming back. So it's nice to hear that. So yeah, for the first sort of year, I just didn't know there was no self-love. I was all about trying to get my girls sorted, trying to get my house sorted. And everything's coming from everywhere. Divorce papers, this, that, the other. You're getting it from everywhere. And there, just in a bad time.
If you could go back, would you do anything different?
Slow down. I wanted to get things done quick. Quick. And I think that didn't work because I got myself engrossed in more work, my own work, engrossed with speaking to more people, engrossed with family and stuff. I think I just needed to slow down. Because there was a point I was at breakdown. So, and that's when I started talking to friends, just slow down. I think you need something like that to just shock you. And I'm used to doing stuff on a regular basis but when I've never been through something like this, you don't understand how it hits you inside. And yeah, I think that's the main thing I needed to slow down.
I remember, so vivid, it feels like happened yesterday. So it must have been a month after I found out that me and my ex were gonna split. My brother said to me, come to New York. I want you to come and hang with us in New York for a bit, because he lives there. And all my life, all I've ever wanted to do was be a dad. And I was at the gate in the airport by myself. And then all I could see were families.
Yeah.
And then there was this family in front of me, boy, girl, mum and dad, and the kids were laughing. And dude, the lump in my throat was so big that if someone had asked me for my boarding pass, I would have cried. I was holding my tears back. Yeah. I still do. Ask Amy, I'm always ready to cry, and within a second, I can cry within 5 seconds. Yeah. Anything to do with my daughter, I'm done. I cried on a business call in front of 9 of our business partners. Ask Amy. It's always there. It never really goes. No. It never really goes. But that stems, I think, from this sense of, have I let my child down?
Yeah, you always put them first.
Have I let my child down? And that, it doesn't matter what anyone says to you, no one will change your mind. It's what's in here. Maybe your child might one day say, when they're older, Dad, you know what? I just want to say you did everything for me. I'm really thankful. But they're young. My daughter's 8. Yeah. She doesn't know that yet. How have you dealt with this sense of, you know what, it happened. I am raising you in a separated family, but it's okay. How have you processed those feelings? Because I don't know if you ever fully can, because I know I'm still processing it.
Still am. Okay. Still am, because it was a 20 plus year marriage. So there's a lot of memories in that. So you might think the majority of it's been put behind, but there's always stuff that comes up. Going to weddings, going to parties, you're going abroad, like you say. Everything brings back that. You're going to a hotel, just checking in, just like usually you got the whole family with you, and you're checking in on your own. It just floods back every time. But then you start thinking, right, this is me. This is me spending time with myself. Like you just touched on self-love. You know, you need time out to just reflect, just think, get your thoughts together.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of way I've kind of managed it, and it's taken me over a year to do that.
Yeah.
You know, just spend time on my own, do stuff with family, do stuff with my brothers, my friends. It's just taken a lot to find Raj again.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I think what I try to do now is I'm actually proud to be a single dad, right? So we went to Disney World, my brother and his family, 2 girl boy, him and his wife, his in-laws, my mom and dad, and it was just me and Lara. And I was holding her hand like, I'm proud. Yeah. Like, I'm a single dad. I'll do this whole trip by myself. Like, and then a lot of the times, a man will rely on a woman for certain things, as a woman relies on a man for certain things. And you're like, okay, they'll handle that. But when it's just you got to be mum and dad. Yeah. Have I packed all her clothes? Have I got her swimming gear? Are we going to the beach? Did I put all this stuff in there? Have I got her sun lotion? Did I pack a snack? Have I got the water? You got to think of it all. Yeah. But then I'm like, do you know what? This makes me a better dad. It makes me a better person, and learning the things that maybe you might rely on the other person for, it can only benefit yourself, because then you apply that to, I think, everything in life. You're just a lot more mindful of things. You think more, even for other people, what might they need? Have I thought of that? Because as men, we can become lazy, we can become selfish. We just think about ourselves. What do I need? Oh, I need, you know, I'm going to a picnic. I just need some, you know, some alcohol and some crisps, whatever.
Just turn up.
Yeah. You just turn up. You just come by yourself, don't you? So I think I do feel proud. Tell me about your life now with your daughters. Like, when you go out, what are the kind of things that you do? Because sometimes daughters especially want to do stuff like, you know, where the mum might be right to do certain stuff with. They might want to do more girly stuff. Yeah. How do you handle those situations, and how do you make sure they're constantly entertained and doing stuff which, you know, they might enjoy, which may not be something that we had ever done as kids? Yeah.
But definitely, I think most of the stuff the kids are doing now, we never did as kids. Yeah. So yeah, because I know the weekends they're with me, I can plan ahead. So I know sort of either family time, because they've got their own classes certain days, mainly on Saturdays as well. So carry that on as normal. In the evenings or afternoon evenings, bit of family time. And then either we go out and do something. If the weather's good, we'll be out and about. My girls like to be out and about. And when they're sitting at home, just sitting on the TV or something like that, they need to be out, because the bickering starts. So yeah,
what does it involve? Like going out for walks,
parks, where it was the nice walks, parks with the family. We did a family holiday last year, so we kind of rotating that. One family holiday abroad, she'll take one family holiday the year after I'll do. Then we'll rotate. We'll do. If she's abroad, I'll do one in the UK with the girls. So they already know. The girls already know the routine.
Yeah.
So they know, Dad, where are we going this year? Mum's booked a holiday abroad. Where are we going this year? So yeah, and anything to do with the girls. So, for an example, next year they're in some stage. They do some theatre work, so they've been having the opportunity to go to New York. So we're going together. So that's when it comes down to the girls, we'll do it.
You and your ex.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know how it's going to work, but
see.
But it's for the girls. So even for the birthdays, we do it. For the birthdays, we still do it. We'll have a day together. We'll have a meal in the evening together. It's more about the girls. I know it sounds very awkward, and when you think about it, it sounds awkward, but it ends up being about the girls as opposed to you two. So
when I first became a single dad, I was trying to find some sort of resources online to help me through that initial period. And I had a couple of therapy sessions, which I didn't actually find that useful. I think that might have been more because the therapist probably wasn't right for me. And I was in such a rush to find somebody. I just went on one of those sites which shows, you know, you just type in what kind of therapy you want and they just give you a list and they just assign you someone. Yeah. Really, I should have done my due diligence and spoken to a few different people. Did you try to find help for yourself online? Did you try to read articles? Because I know I watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, I was watching stuff about blended families. I was thinking, how am I going to make this work? Did you do any of that stuff?
No.
Nothing.
All I did, basically, when we were going through the motions of the divorce, we tried mediation, tried marriage counselling. To be fair, you touched on a good point. You have to get on with the counsellor yourself. Doesn't matter what their skills are like, but you have to get on with it. I didn't get on with the marriage counsellor. So it just stopped. But that's what made me make a conscious decision. When I do, because I've already made a decision, I'm going to do single counselling. Then I made a choice of actually finding a person I get on with. I did a few sort of taster ones, if you want to call it. And then I got on with the guy really well. And I was with the guy nearly a year. So, and then you kind of know when it's time to move, because I think all my stuff that you said you did your product, I think I did mine just with him.
Right.
So I didn't think it even crossed my mind to even look, if I'll be honest.
You had everything there that you needed.
Just needed.
What kind of sacrifices do you think you've made as a single dad for your own personal life? So I think one of the biggest things, having spoken to each of the dads on the phone before meeting them in person, it was sacrifice. I've sacrificed this. Tell me about, and go into some detail if you can, about the kind of sacrifices that you've made.
Sacrifices, standard, divorces, financial. There's a lot of financial sacrifice. Being self-employed, I think I had the opportunity to mold my day. Like you said, you went to gym in the morning, I went in the evening. I could do the same with my job as well. Whereas I was doing appointments in the morning or evening with the time to drop off, I changed that. I've got slots now for my appointments. So income's had a big hit, but priorities have changed. Doing the role of of the dad, I think I'm putting that before anything now. And maybe in the past I'd put my job and income, money before anything else, but that was for the family.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing it right. It needs to be about the girls and everything first.
Do you think that you have a better relationship with your girls now than when you were married?
Yeah. Even my family.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that because you think you've got the time?
Yeah, time, and I make time as well. So time with the family, time with my cousin, time with or my mom, with the girls as well. We're conscious of having that time. I think family is really important. When we were growing up, we only grew up in a small little knit family, and that was enough for us. And I think my girls need to see that, because in this new world, I think the family connections are drifting.
One thing that comes into play when you're a single father of colour is family, a lot. And one of the reasons why Amit and I wanted to do this project was to see, how do single fathers of colour, how does their lifestyle differ from other single fathers? And it is a lot to do with family, because I know I couldn't live the life I live now without my family.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, if we're on shoots, is my parents will go and pick up Lara.
Yeah.
And then drop her off, pick her up, keep her at home until I'm back. Certain days I won't take on shoots unless we have to.
Yeah.
But then I have to rely on the parents.
Yeah.
And without them, I mean, everything I've been building, me and Amit, for the last 22 years could have gone as well, because I just wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah.
So the idea that the sense of you needing family is so important, because imagine your life without them, and you just can't do it. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that we're blessed with when we have this extended family unit, is that we can, cousins, aunties, siblings, grandparents, they all just come together, which I think is such a beautiful thing especially in Indian culture.
Definitely.
That they just kind of, everyone says, okay, what do you need?
That's it.
Because without that, I think the pressure would be 10 times worse. Tell me some of the things that your family have done to help you through this whole stage.
To be fair, majority of the time as I was doing time, I work my diary accordingly, so I'm there, say 90% of the time. Other times, I do ask my ex-partner, I can't make that evening, can you do it? And if she's free, she'll do it. We rely on each other first. Secondly, then it is our family. Yeah. Weekends is more spending time with the family, is getting to know them. Because I think before they weren't getting to know them. They'll come, there's a birthday celebration, and that's it. They're not getting to know them. Yeah. Now it's more about getting to know my mom, my brothers, and the daughter and their families.
So they've actually become closer with the family.
A lot closer.
That's
a lot
interesting.
closer.
Yeah, I can probably say the same thing. For me too. She has become a lot closer. So I think the family ends up feeling for you, don't they? They know what you're going through, and they just want to give you love, which I think is a beautiful thing. If someone came up to you now and said, Raj, look, I've just split up with my partner. We've been together for 10 years. We've got a kid. I'm really struggling. I feel depressed. What kind of advice would you give them?
A couple of things. First thing, we've touched on it already. I'd say just take on one, slow things down. Just take it in first. Slow it all down. Maybe write things down. I didn't do that. People say, I think that makes a massive difference. And then tick things off as you're doing them. Try to have a good relationship with your ex. I know it's easy said than done, but I think we're there. And I've heard other stories it can't be there. But I think if you can, I would really. That was my. If it was a list, that would be my top list.
How would you tell someone to separate any emotional feelings they might have? Because a lot of the time, just that the separations happen for a reason. There's resentment, there's anger, there's hatred, there's a lot of negative feelings for that partner. Sometimes it might not be in those cases where they just feel like we don't get on, but let's stay friends, whatever it might be. How would you guide someone to be able to separate those emotions? I know it's easy to say for the kids. I mean, we all say that, but I think it is definitely a conscious, I know what I did, but I know there's a conscious effort, a mindset has to be adopted to be able to speak to that person, which I think is the hardest thing when you're separated with kids, is that you have to speak to the other person and you may not always want to because there's so many negative feelings there that can cause anxiety and stress and depression. How would you tell someone to overcome those feelings for an ex?
Well, I can only relate on what we've been doing. Because you're right, there's lots of anger, hate, whatever you want to call it. But we just talk one text. So because it's about so-and-so day, have you got this free, so-and-so day, that's an easy, quick. You don't need to go into much detail. So it's an easy sort of, she knows I've got the girls, or I know when she's got the girls, just say, can we swap? I've got a meeting, you've got a meeting that day, we'll swap. It's got to be that, I think you've got to completely, both of you got to sit down and say, look, this is how, it's got to be a clean divide. When it's about the divorce, it's about the divorce. When it's about the girls, it's about the girls. I think that's the only way it's worked. And I can only say for mine, it's worked. 3 years in, it's work. And it's working. So, and everything else will sort itself out. This was going to carry on. The relationship with the girls and your ex is not going away.
Yeah.
Everything else, the divorce will in a few years be done. That is not going to go away. So you got that for life. Whereas other guys, singles, when they split, that's it. They've split their assets or whatever they want to say. It's gone. They've gone their way. Well, you can't do that now.
Yeah.
You're in each other's lives, either you like it or not, for life.
Do your girls, have they ever sat down with you and had a conversation? And what have they said to you?
Why don't you come home? Why don't you come home? Because sometimes when we do the birthday, I think we do sometimes touch this is what it can be like. So we got to watch when we do them days. And that's when it happens. When we do have family days, like a day out, and they'll say, "What? Just come home, Dad." And where the older one kind of understands, the younger one now is just slightly going through it, but she's getting there. Where the older one kind of explains, I come out when she explains it.
What does she say?
So she goes, "Mummy and Daddy have fallen out of love." So I think I would just leave it at that. I don't want to go into any more detail with the girls. So if they're okay with that, we're okay. When they're older, we might go into a bit more detail.
When did you have that conversation about that, or they just clocked on when you?
No, I think my ex probably went in a bit more detail with the girls, sat them down, and I think with the older one more than the younger one. But myself, I probably didn't have to go through. They just wanted to ask me the same questions to see if I was in the same thing. So when they answered me, it doesn't. The subject doesn't crop up that much.
Okay.
So I think it does hurt them, no doubt.
I think one thing a lot of single fathers may feel in the beginning is, how is my child going to feel when they go to school and see other parents? But I know my daughter's class, there's at least 5 or 6
Same.
kids in there who've got parents who are no longer together. So it's not anything new, which is actually a good thing in a lot of ways, because at least the kid isn't feeling alienated, and it is just so much more common, these blended families. I can see in the future it's just going to be so common that no one's going to think anything of it. We're probably already there, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to look down on you if you think that my parents aren't together, or even if you say you're a single parent. But I think when it comes to single fathers of colour, sometimes there are certain stigmas, which is one of the main reasons why we did this project. Was I felt that, I know when I told people initially that me and my ex were no longer together, they said to me, "What have you done?" I said, "I didn't do anything." But they might feel like the father isn't doing as much, right? And that this sense of, they're not there all the time, they'll hand the responsibility off. And that is something that we really wanted to delve into with this project, is this sense of, we want to be amazing dads. We don't want anyone to take our responsibilities off us. And I think that's what's misunderstood sometimes with men, is that people think that we want to pass the buck and say, look, I can now go out with my mates and go and get drunk. But a lot of the times I found with single dads, when they're separated, it just fuels them to do even more.
Yeah.
And if anything, they become even better men, because they'll now sacrifice the nights out, the alcohol, they'll work on themselves, they'll self-improvement, fitness, earn more money. Because guess what? Now you're thinking, I can't rely on someone else to half the bills. So they actually end up becoming better dads, but they're not always given the opportunities to show that.
Yeah.
Can you relate to any of that? Is that what you've experienced with people that you know and yourself?
Yeah, it's like exactly what you just said. Like the man can blame. You're not going to be in the girls' lives, and it's the stories they've heard. You're going to be out getting drunk and this, that, the other. I'm thinking, where have you heard these stories from? I never did it in the marriage. What do you expect me to do after the marriage? So I want to carry on. Whatever differences are between me and her, the girls' lives are carrying on. And whatever they are feeling, I want them to feel loved. Because as much as we've been through trauma, I've seen it in the past, my friends and family that are also when they've had traumatic families, when they've been old, it comes to bite them later on in life. And I do not want that for my girls at all. So that's one thing I have read, the more love you can give them, that less they're going to feel that later on in life. And like you say, I want to be the role model. The man they're going to actually end up marrying later on in life, they look for traits from their dad.
What do you think they would think of their dad now? What do you think, if they were to describe you, how would they describe you? Loving.
That would be the first word. I know. Because that's what we say that first thing in the morning, we're picking or dropping them off. Loving, caring. And that's what I want to be known as.
I remember when Amit and I had, we had this Christmas party we'd gone to once for one of our mentors, and sat opposite me were these 2 life coaches. And they were talking about me and what we do. And they said, Naroop, what is it? I was talking about my daughter. They said, Naroop, what is it that you want to do for your daughter? I said, I'm building all these businesses. I just want her to grow up and she can take over the businesses, and, she'll have all this money and she can do what she wants. And they said, is that what you think that she wants? I'm like, well, yeah. And she goes, and they said, all she wants is your love.
Yeah.
She goes, all that stuff doesn't matter, Naroop. If you gave her all that but gave her no love, she wouldn't be happy. But if she gave her none of that and gave her love, she'd have everything. So that changed my whole perception of what am I doing? Yes, we want to, do the best for our children, take them nice holidays, buy them stuff, send them to private school. But ultimately, it's the love that is the most important thing. So I can only say, having a daughter, that this kind of trauma, it gives you a wound, it opens up something inside you, but it also brings out a part of a man that may have been dormant for a long time. That the softer side of that man, the understanding of a man, the time when your daughter's there and she needs sympathy or consoling or love, and it's just you.
Yeah.
You can't ask and say, oh, let's speak to mama, because mama's not there at that moment. right? It's just you and her. So how do I now relate to my daughter? And I think you actually learn so much more of yourself as a man through those moments. You know, you're speaking to her, but then you're also speaking to yourself and thinking, wow, I never knew I had that in me.
Yeah.
And that no one can ever teach you that, bro. That's just pure in the moment, those little moments. I know you can see you're thinking about those moments now. I'll tell Amit about stuff every single day.
Yeah.
This happened today. And it's just beautiful. I think that's that's what I like to say, the positives that come out of this is that you do become this whole rounded man and you become a different man, don't you?
Definitely.
Tell me about the man that you think you are now from comparing yourself to before and to after. And do you think you're a better man?
Definitely. And the last one, yeah, I'm definitely a better man. I want to carry on. I'm developing that and becoming that better man because, like I said earlier, I want to be that role model. I want to be that father figure, man figure in the girls' lives that they will look up to and say, you know, they're proud to being their dad. Because you hear so many horror stories. Some kids don't even know their dad. You know, don't have no relationship with their dad, and I just don't get that. But that's you know, you just don't know the dynamics of that. It's like you just touched on. You're being the good cop and the bad cop, whereas when you're in the marriage, one's always a good cop, one's a bad cop, but whereas you're doing both now. And yeah, that was hard. So, but yeah, definitely a better man. From 3 years ago, yeah, but I was goal driven. I knew where I wanted to be in life, a future in about 5 years, 10 years, 15 years time. I knew where I wanted to be. And now I just take day by day. That's the biggest change I can say now. And I don't look that far because you just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You've got to plan a little bit, but not like I used to. I have to put this money aside, I'm going for that, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to go for that. No, I think all of that is kind of gone.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Exactly the same.
So I don't know what happened. Like you said, something opens up inside you. I just don't know what happened. So
I think that's a better way of living because you're so much more present. What do you think the biggest challenges you face right now are, personal-wise and being a single dad? What's your biggest challenges?
Challenges?
Because I know for myself, it's time. I'd say I'm time poor.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to do so many things and I want it all. And it's difficult to have it all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say it's time as well, but it's carrying on and becoming better. I still want to be, you know, I'm 47. So age is not, you know, age is always going to be against me in that sort of sense. Just, I mean, you just don't know. You hear like younger guys, something happening to them. You just want to carry on being that father, but you just don't know what's going to happen there in a few years' time, 10 years' time. But again, that's looking into the future again. You're just making the memories. So I just want to make the memories with the girls. Just want to be present with the girls. The challenges are to carry that on, and challenges actually keeping that relationship with the ex going like that as well. So it is challenging because I'm sure she feels certain ways and I feel certain ways on certain things, but we do it for the girls, and we always have. And you know, it's working, and I really hope it carries on working like that because the girls are happy.
Thanks for coming down today, Raj. I think you've told us so much about your life. There's so many nuggets of kind of useful information in there. I think anyone watching this will really find it helpful when they go through the early journeys of being a single dad, and knowing that you're living your life in a very positive way. You seem happy. You came in here with a massive smile on your face, haircut's fresh. You can tell that, you know, you're living your best life, bro. So Thank you so much. We're going to take some stills now.
Excellent.
And get some photos done. But thank you so much, bro.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Nice one.
Cheers.